Episode 2, Malaysia. I'm here waiting for my bike to arrive from Australia. It just keeps on getting delayed. Now not expected to even leave Australia till mid-February. Happy Australia Day. First job of the day was to drop off the car nets at our customs agent. Mindy was very nice and pointed out a few things that I would not have realised, such as these heritage listed buildings left over from the British colonial days. The British brought in a lot of Chinese and a lot of Indians during the spice trail days. You can see some of these 1960 or 50 style buildings jammed up against the brand new highway, not realising that these are protected by heritage listing. They say don't drink the tap water. A carton of water costs less than $4. I picked up these supplies for under $30. I bought a charger only to find out that my charger does fit these walls. I stepped out in front of a couple of mopeds later on. They said, "Hey, have a cup of tea." The locals here are just so friendly. It's fantastic. The Tavern is one of the few places that serves alcohol, as it's a primarily Muslim area. I had a beautiful duck marinara and 2 beers for around about $20. Up until about 9 p.m, the streets are quite busy. Preparations are underway for Chinese New Year's, and I found these guys quite entertaining. They're making up these big gift packages, sealing them in plastic and then shrinking the plastic with a hairdryer, and they look absolutely wonderful when these guys are finished, and they were having a ball. I stood and watched them for a little while. I got a laugh out of it. There are cats everywhere. Did I mention cats everywhere? Everything is within close proximity to the hotel. The ferry and train terminal, only a short walk. I went down to the ferry terminal under Miss Mindy's advice to take the ferry to Kaitam. It was a wonderful day. I saw all these container ships, but no sign of my bike. The ferry cuts through a mangrove island, and the little barges like this taking supplies to the fishing village. There's all these floating fish farms out in the middle of the bays in between the mangrove islands. I don't know if there's any accommodation on them. And here we are approaching the first village on the island. It's low tide. I'll have to try and go back at high tide. This entire area would look absolutely spectacular. So I went here for a day trip, as many of the Port Klang locals do on weekends. I went here under the advice of Miss Mindy, our customs clearance lady, who's also doubling as my tour guide and has given me a few tips on things to have a look around while I'm here in Port Klang. But these floating fish farms, I suspect that they would be anchored somehow. I don't know. There's kind of like floating fish farms out in the middle of the bay. I'm not sure if that's accommodation on there. Tourist, yes. Australia, yes. An hour ferry ride and you arrive at Kaitan. Around the ferry terminal, there's lots of people trying to rent out electric motorcycles and a lot of touristy souvenir shops, restaurants. It's quite nice. You need to sort of walk away from all of that, get into the further reaches of the area, and you can see what's the real life's like. This area would look fantastic at high tide, it really would. But low tide is part of reality as well. I'll probably have to go back one day during high tide just to see the difference. I think it would be unreal. There's a big Chinese influence here, so you're quite welcome to have a beer with your dinner. An ordinary life in this small community, it would be quite nice, you know. So these guys working hard during the day. They've been fishing all night, obviously. They're checking their nets, sorting their catch. This would take a lot of patience. And this guy was more than halfway through releasing that crab. The food here is not overly cheap. I paid nearly $40. I had a clam and oyster omelette. I had crab and rice and a 500ml Carlsberg for around about $40. Not bad. The Malay people are so friendly and lovely. Facebook friend Kenny Tai offered to lend me a bike. I bought a wet weather suit, a heavy chain and a helmet for under $40. Kenny gave me train directions as to where to meet him the next day. It was beautiful. Miss Mindy had recommended that I try the yacht club for dinner one night, and I thought I would go there too. It was a great spot, and I'm really glad to be there. I've come out to the yacht club for dinner. It's quite a nice posh looking spot. Cheers, biggies. I had the steamed squid, rice, followed by fruit and ice cream, $40. Facebook friend Kenny Tai, who's been following me for 3 or 4 weeks and felt sympathetic to my situation, lent me a bike for a month. We spent the day flowing through the Kuala Lumpur traffic like water and visiting all of these wonderful tourist attractions. This is a cave dedicated to the peacock god, who ran to this cave to hide after losing a fight with his brother, the elephant god. This is the Twin Towers, and then Kenny took me to an absolutely superb street side Indian stall for a meal. It was absolutely great. The people are just so friendly, and we had very sweet, very hot tea in these strange double cups, and flowing through Kuala Lumpur traffic is like water. It's just unbelievable. Lane filtering beside large trucks and buses at 80 kilometres an hour. Don't bother driving to survive. That's BS. Don't bother driving like everyone's out to kill you. That's a load of rubbish. Drop your shoulders, relax, flow like water. Just keep it moving. Do not stop. Remember to shoulder check before changing lanes, because bikes filtering on the other side of the traffic will kill you. So now I prepare to tour on this lovely little bike for about a month. Thank you extremely much to my good friend Kenny Tai. So I spent the day fitting the bike out. I bought a cheap plastic suitcase, and the guys at the bag shop give me a hand to drill holes in the bottom of the suitcase and wire it to the bike's existing luggage rack. I bought a little bit of camping gear, about 300 RM, 300 ringgit, so a little bit over 100 Australian dollars. Went out to this beautiful meal where I was accompanied by a couple of feral cats. Did I mention there are feral cats? This restaurant on a busy corner around from the hotel is always busy. I had to try it. I had a beef curry and a frozen, freshly squeezed apple juice. Beautiful meal for 24 ringgit, a little bit over $7. Ballayu Cape Town, high tide on a Wednesday morning, so there's not very many tourists from Port Klang. A lot of the tourist shops and restaurants were closed, but at high tide it certainly is beautiful. I don't think they have the tidal movement we do in Mackay. I think it's about a 4-metre tidal movement. Enjoy the film. Watch out for these electric motorbike scooters. These guys really float along. Another one. And another one. Certainly a very busy riding community. Being a Wednesday morning, the streets were virtually empty with complete tourists. But it was really good to see the difference between the low tide earlier in this film and the high tide. It was really beautiful hotel. A closer look at the floating fish farm. They look as though they're through feeding tunnel. So tomorrow morning, the 1st of February, starts my tour of Malaysia. I'm meeting good friend Kenny Tai, and we're going to ride up to Cameron Highlands, and I'll continue touring from there.